Hey. Well, hello, welcome to the new video. And this week we are testing the plug-in hybrid version of the SKODA Superb. And I have to tell you, after using it for quite a few kilometers, it is an excellent car if you want the most efficient SKODA Superb there is. But anyway, let's have a closer look at the car. So in terms of design and aerodynamics, wow, this car is perfect. It has drag coefficient of 0.23, just like other versions. And that you can see by the very small frontal area, extremely small frontal area, massive air curtains here on the sides. This version doesn't have the active flaps in front of the radiator like the diesel or the petrol variant, particularly the petrol IC variant, but still it achieves fantastic drag coefficient. We have these LED matrix lights, which are excellent in the night. So that's good. This is the Lorin and Clement version, so the most luxurious one. And this version comes along with the DCC adaptive chassis as standard, which is fantastic. And this is also a very well resolved car in terms of the chassis setup, the suspension setup. We are running quite a big amount of positive caster geometry here at the front. And also in terms of wheels, we are running 19-inch wheels with the tire of 235/40 R19. You can also get 18-inch wheels, which maybe I would think about as still with these 19-inch wheels. Sometimes they can feel slightly heavier, right? And we have the Pirelli Cinturato P7 tires, which is really cool. Okay, then again, talking about the aerodynamics, nice curvature to the front windshield, very small tag angle. This is very slight, this connection in between the windshield and roof line. And we have a very long wheelbase, very long car, and sleek aerodynamic roof line coming down, and also tilted down hood lid, which is pretty cool. On this side, you have the fuel cap. And now that we're here at the rear, I can tell you about the geometry, which is running more negative camber at the front than at the rear. And the rear wheels are running a toe in for some good agility. And also, important thing about this car is that this IV model, the plug-in hybrid, is the best handling model out of the SKODA Superb because it has the best weight distribution. You have the engine at the front, and then the battery lies in front of the rear wheels, and the fuel tank is just above the rear suspension. So that's pretty cool. Now coming to the boot, just as always, is practical. I mean, really, what more do you need in life? This is an amazing boot. So what's important here? You have a 12-volt battery. Then you also have the access to the high voltage battery over here. So that's good. And in terms of practicality, another hook here, 4 hooks here in the boot. Just great practical 12-volt socket, space over here. It is just really good. I really do like it. It's fantastic, right? And then, well, the new battery has 19 kilowatt hours of capacity. The gross is 25 point something, 25.7, I think. So yeah, but let me show you how it is to be seated at the rear. And this is another advantage of the car. It's just like a limousine. It's fantastic. Really loads of space for the knees. Very happy for the feet as well, also for the head. It's just great. And then the comfort, you have this sunshade over here, speakers, also a door bin over here, quite a big door bin as well for the bottle. And here in the center you have 2 USB-C connectors for charging, air vents, heated seats at the rear, third zone of air conditioning, a foldable armrest with cup holders, and also this sort of pads where you can put your iPad or your phone to leave up to load through access, a holder for the iPad over here, strong LED lights. And also what I like is that it's very elegant solution. You have 2 hooks for your coat. So one over here, one over here. It's really elegant. And you can see how managerial this car is, right? Now that we're over here, let me also tell you about the driver's conception. And I have to say, regarding that this car is a Skoda, it's a well-resolved suspension, so the driver is seated somewhere around here, which is okay in the wheelbase. Of course, the driver could be seated slightly more rearwards, but overall, I have to say, quite okay. It's a much bigger improvement from the last generation. And then here in the doors, you can open the fuel cap and open the boot. So yeah, and now we're going to have a look at the engine, but still we have here the charging flap, and that's pretty cool because you have the DC charging. And I have to say, my experience with this was extremely great. So you can get 50 kilowatts DC charging. I achieved even more. I think it was 63 kilowatts, and the charging time should be somewhere around 25 minutes. And I can affirm that it is correct. It's just incredible. And the way how the car is efficient when you have the charged battery is just amazing. Really good charging experience. The AC charging is 11 kilowatts, which is again still quite strong. And now let's have a look at the engine. So under the bonnet we have the 1.5 liter TSI engine from the Evo 2 generation. It's of course improved for the sort of plug-in hybrid scenario that it has to work at. And well, yeah, it's a really good engine. Here in the engine bay you will not find the normal 12-volt battery. That one is in the boot, as I said. Here is a sort of inverter stuff like that. The power output is at 204 horsepower, and I have to say the dynamics are not special, but they are really enough, and they are plenty for overtaking or any other driver scenarios that you will have on your way. The damper towers are over here, so you can see the engine is mounted in front of the damper towers, in front of the central line, and it's mated, of course, to the 6-speed DSG transmission, the DQ200, I think. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Pretty good car. And now let me tell you more about the amazing experience with this car, because it has exceptional fuel efficiency. By sitting inside the car, driving it further down the road, and telling you more about the experience with the SKODA Superb plug-in hybrid. Well, hello, welcome inside this SKODA Superb plug-in hybrid low-end and climate interior. Let me turn on the car as it's really hot in here. So the first thing I always do, and you have to do when you're changing, when you're sitting inside the car, is to change the driving mode into individual or either sport. And I have it in the individual mode. I have the dampers in their stiffest, absolutely stiffest setting. Yeah. Then I have the climate seats on. This car has climate seats which is really good and handy in the summer like this. And then you need to turn off the European legislation assistance, and that you do on the steering wheel. It's that easy in the Volkswagen group cars, so I really do love that. Yeah, so really that's about it. Now shortly to the interior, I have to say a really good interior. Now that I test the Superb the second time, I have to say I really do like this car even more than I did it first time. I think this is a really classy interior. I do love this bit of trim, vertical bit of trim over here. I love that you have leather throughout the dashboard, also here in the door cards, door handle, also the nice and soft armrest, also here where your knee is, so that's good. The seats are also very nice, leather seats, ventilated, heated, good support, high quality headrests with Lauren and Clement badge in them. I just really do love them. The sitting position, like always in these managerial Volkswagen Group cars, slightly higher than I would have wished, but generally really okay. I have to praise Skoda also for the conception that the driver is actually seated in the middle of the wheelbase or even slightly behind the middle of the wheelbase, so that's good. And then the practicality of the interior is great. You can put the big bottle here in the doors, great practicality here in the central panel, wireless charging over here, 2 USB-C connectors next to it, 2 cup holders, separate space for the key, massive armrest where you have a 12-volt socket, and you'll have all of these organizers in there, and also this bit to clean the screen, so that's really good. What I also love, and you have to love, is these eye toggles, which you just press and change what you want to set up. So if you want to fan speed, you just click it, then you click it for the volume, or you click it for the driving mode, and you can set them up what you want there, yeah. And then also the fact that you have basically hardware controls for the air conditioning, that's very good. The infotainment, typical Skoda nowadays, very nice design, very high quality, and easy to use, easy to navigate. Here in this hybrid, you have these hybrid settings, so you can set up the recuperation, the regen, automatic high and low, and you can switch in between the E mode and the hybrid. And you have the charging control, automatic and manual. So I think that's actually really cool. You also have massage seats. If you press here, you have massage seats for the front passengers. That is good. Of course, they are also a memory seats as well, these ergo comfort seats. So yeah, I'm absolutely massively happy with this. So yeah, gearbox here on the stalk. You put it into sports or D. I put it in the D because I want sporty setup of the chassis and steering, but the normal gearbox for good fuel consumption, and then you start driving. And now let me tell you more about the experience with the car, because it has been really rather exceptional. So the first thing that I need to tell you is the suspension. So basically the Skoda Superb IV, the plug-in hybrid, is the best Skoda Superb for driving. I know that sounds controversial, but actually from technical standpoint it is, because this is the Skoda Superb that has the best weight distribution, thanks to the engine and the inverter and the gearbox in front of the front axle, and then the big 25.8 kWh battery and the fuel tank in front and above the rear axle, giving us a good weight distribution of 55 to 45. That makes it really rather balanced. Then also they set up the positive caster on the front, as well as the geometry in a really nicely balanced way. So we have slightly narrower track at the rear. We have big positive caster, which makes the car lean onto the outer rear. That is correct. And then also the geometry of the wheels is done really quite correctly, with big negative cambers on both axles, slightly more, it seems at the rear, although in the walkaround I said at the front, but they really are both quite a big negative cambers there. And the rear wheels, they have the toe in geometry, and that is for the agility of the car during cornering, if it in the face when it comes to understeer. So this car is probably the best setup SKODA Superb and the best balanced SKODA Superb out of the range that you can buy. So yeah, that is quite controversial, isn't it? You wouldn't expect that. Here is my bit of corner where I always test this, so we can do this, or we can't because there is a car coming. Anyway, so in terms of power, we have 204 horsepower, 350 Newton meters of torque. The weight is just above 1900 kilos, 1913 kilos, I think. And the car feels reasonably swift. It is, yeah, it is not the fastest SKODA Superb. Here is the corner. You can see, just nicely balanced, and it just feels stable. It's a really nice car to drive, definitely. You would expect it maybe to have a little bit of rotation at the rear, but really it doesn't, because the way it is balanced and the way the weight is distributed, it is just set up correctly so that it is really quite stable. If you want to overtake, look at this 204 horsepower, you can go like this. So I think that actually no problem, although the manufacturer numbers are 8 seconds to 100 kilometers, but really actually no problem in this regard. So that's pretty cool. But what was the most exceptional in this car is the fuel consumption, and I'm absolutely blown away. So I've done so far 1039 kilometers with this car with the fuel consumption of 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers, and that is absolutely exceptional. And you know what is the reason for that? That is one feature called route planning, which this plug-in hybrid has, and it is absolutely exceptional. So if it was a normal plug-in hybrid without this feature, it would drive just like in the past. So it would first decharge the battery to 0, then start up the petrol engine, and then have some fuel economy as an average. In this case, you put in your destination into the SatNav of the SKODA, and based on your journey, the car then decides, it knows the elevation and everything, and the car decides when it will use the electric power and when it will use the petrol power. And thanks to this, I was able to drive motorways in around 2.9 up to 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers at 130 to 140 kilometers per hour. And then I was able to drive B-road sort of driving for 2.2 to 2.4 liters per 100 kilometers, giving me an average of 3.1. But actually that is because yesterday I was driving 100 kilometers when I was doing some of these driving footage of the car with depleted battery. Before that I had the fuel consumption of 2.7 liters per 100 kilometers. So this is absolutely exceptional. And then when you think that you can do 1200 kilometers basically, or almost 300 to 1300 kilometers out of a small 45 liter fuel tank for petrol, this is absolutely exceptional, and it will save you also a lot of money. Although, yes, it is right, you have to pay for the electricity as well, but it depends then on your provider that you have. In my country, basically, in this week, I had the consumption of 77 kilowatt hours of electricity so far. So that means that I would do 300 and something in a month. So basically, in my country, it's something around paying 90 euros per month, where you have the prepaid 400 kilowatt hours of electricity to the provider, right? So I think still quite okay in terms of the running costs. So if you're looking for the running costs, forget about the diesel, just get this car and get amazed by this amazing fuel economy. It is absolutely exceptional, and I was just so staggered by it. You know, I've done 1000 kilometers and still I have 200 kilometers in the fuel tank. It is absolutely mesmerizing. I just love this car so much. And then there are the other parts of the Superb which make you think, you know, do I really need to pay up for an Audi? You know, because this car has the same drag coefficient, 0.23, and you just enjoy also the drag coefficient every time you drive the car. So this car can be coasting exceptionally well down the hill, even down the small hill, down the not such a steep hill, a very mild hill. It is exceptional. It is exceptional for the quietness, although in the Skoda you miss out on acoustic glass just like in the Audi, but still it is exceptionally quiet for a normal car. It is just fantastic. This car, it doesn't matter what sort of conditions are outside, whether it's windy, it just is absolutely fantastic and stable for the crosswinds. Absolutely no feel for the crosswinds. It doesn't influence the car. Even overtaking the trucks on the motorway, you just simply don't feel it. That's how fantastic the aerodynamics of the Skoda Superb are. So that is another thing. Then you have massive loads of space really in the rear, massive boot, which is exceptional always with Skoda, and so it is in this case. It is just a really good car, and then it doesn't lack on the build quality. So actually for a Skoda this is really nice, because it is not as bad as, for example, in the Octavia where everything squeaks. This is really higher quality than that. So fantastic car. The price of this is the Laurin and Clement, so 57,000 and something euros in my country. I think that's actually quite affordable for what it is. And now maybe another thing that I forgot to mention so far is the charging. So you also have the charging. Also the charging was absolutely is. You have the DC charging. You can do it in 25 to 27 minutes according to manufacturer, and sometimes when the battery and the electric motor are in the ideal temps, you can do that, but usually it's around like 30 minutes, 31 minutes. And I achieved, I think the most power I achieved was 63 kilowatts, which is much more than the 50 kilowatts that is stated by the Skoda. So I was absolutely happy with the charging as well. If you want to charge AC at your home, you have 11 kilowatts AC charging in this car. So yeah, super happy. If you're looking for one daily car that you buy and you just use it, you have the lowest running cost possible, but still you have fantastic comfort, fantastic quietness, and also, as I said, it's probably the nicest Skoda to drive in terms of handling because of the best weight distribution. You also have a beautiful steering. If you put it into sports mode, it's nicely weighted, sort of sporty, good ratio to it, good feel from the brakes as well. Yeah, the only disadvantage, of course, of this hybrid powertrain when we're talking about driving dynamics is the reaction. So sometimes you just have to wait a little bit for the petrol engine, but generally it's quite okay. Maybe slightly worse than the petrol variant, the 2.0, yeah, but generally I have to say really quite okay. So yeah, this is my words to the Skoda Superb plug-in hybrid, the car that really amazed me in all of the ways actually, and I think this is the best version of Skoda Superb that you can get if we're talking about having it as your only car. You know, it has the best handling, it has still fantastic aerodynamics, amazing fuel efficiency. I just like it. I know many of you will want to buy the 265 horsepower 2.0 liter TSI one, but this is the perfect sort of in between. It's sort of giving you everything. Fantastic efficiency on one way and fantastic handling on the other way. So yeah, these are my words to the Skoda Superb plug-in hybrid, the car I really respect from now on, and I really do love. This is my favorite version of the Skoda Superb. Well, and if you found this video useful, well, keep watching, keep subscribing, because more videos are coming on very soon, and I hope to see you in the very next video. In the meantime, take care of you and goodbye.